Hi guys, we have got Sevda with us from Peaceful Program. Sevda, can you give us a bit of an introduction?
Sure, I am the founder and director of Peaceful Programs. I am a nervous system practitioner. I work with families and I help with everyone bonding in their house, making sure our brains are calm and we're connected, we're more in tune with the surroundings and the people that we love. So, a lot of connection based. But for those of you that are going, what is she doing here? I've also, my past life, I was a town planner. So I've been in
Oh wow.
development for a very long time. My first degree was town planning, and then I've got my MBA. And my first ever property purchase was when I was 20. So I entered the property industry very early and I built my property portfolio by the time I hit 30. And so once I got married, that's when my husband's like, what do we do with money? So hence why this topic and having this beautiful space to just exchange this knowledge of what I've known from my personal experience and through having my town planning degree, being in development, being in business, and then from a connection and humanistic way. Can't wait to hear that and explain certain things with you, Amer.
Yeah, perfect. Now, look. Before we begin, I just want to let everybody know that this is all general in nature. Please take your financial circumstances in consideration before acting on any advice. We have to get this across as well. So, look, Seth, the reason why I wanted to touch base with you, especially talking about mental health and how does financial stress impact different people, because it's a very big topic.
Massive. Especially with what's going on in our world at the moment, it's quite triggering because there's a lot of uncertainty out there and things change so rapidly. So people have lost trust in what to believe and how to arrange their financial state. So I'm seeing that a lot in my centre as well with families. It is a topic that I get asked all the time in my DMs. It's how do we manage when there's a lot of financial stress in their house?
100%. Look, it's my experience as a financial advisor for over a decade now. I've seen a lot of clients, like mums and dads, they're from different parts of the world. Everyone goes through financial stress in a very different manner. So that's why uh, this time I want to ask you that how does financial stress impact men? Because it's June and it's Men Mental Health
Oh,
Month.
yes. Yeah.
So we want to touch base with the men right now, and we would definitely come back and make another video for the ladies as well. Please forgive me, but I think it's a good topic. So I think, Setha, in your experience, how does financial stress typically impact men's health, well-being? Are there common patterns that you see?
Yeah, there are patterns I see because not only do I see a lot of families as a practitioner, but I also help with nervous system regulation for CEOs, business owners, and men that own companies and their own businesses that just can't switch off, they can't sleep. And this is no advice or no projection of any of the people I see. This is very general of what I'm speaking about. But throughout my career, I've seen that what happens with men in their mental health state when there's a lot of just financial stuff is the first thing that happens is they overthink, they isolate, and they detach. Because they
Yep.
have such busy minds, they don't want to explain, they don't want to share. And there's a big thing about shame and saving face. So they don't want to tell people their worries, they don't want to explain to anyone just in case they're judged. So, because of that, a lot of dads, a lot of business owners, a lot of migrants, a lot of men that, if you could see throughout the world, it turns into aggression. They feel trapped and they see no hope.
Mhm.
So it could really feel like they're not worthy of their families and they can't provide. And that's the depth. You can see a lot of suicide rates, and it's just very detriment to our mental health where a lot of the men sometimes going into addictions or so forth to get themselves out of the trapped feeling.
Yep.
And with that overthinking, it can create more anxieties. So sometimes, some people go, well, you've lost your job, just get back up and apply again. But for a man that's lost all of that and is in that mental state, it can actually bring on more anxieties of what if I don't get the job? What if I fail again? What if I've lost trust in my employee or employers? Like there's no way of me getting back up. So sometimes when the solutions are there, our men can also still have internal struggles that they do not share and we have no idea about.
No, that's true. Because if I think about from the perspective as myself as a business owner, obviously I can't switch off. And while you're telling me this, that majority of time, if you come from a different part of the world, and well, pretty much, I think all the boys when they're growing up, we are told that listen, you have to take care. You're the man. You have to take care of this. Stop crying. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. That has built in, like I think in our subconscious mind, it goes and it triggers that there's no one out there who can save us. It's just us. That's it. We
Yeah.
don't need a life jacket. We don't need life support or anything.
Mhm.
It's just me. And if I go and ask for help from someone, I look like a lesser man then.
That's correct. That's how our society, well, our cultural norms has made our men feel. And my dad is same. And I see a lot of family members, and I mean, I'm sure you resonate with that. But with business owners, it's very different as well because we
Yeah.
do have men that are have that similar upbringing where they want to go to a government job or a 9 to 5 job because that's the safety net. That's what they're not going to lose.
Yes.
But the people that are in the business sector, it's like I can only rely on myself, and that shame and that guilt can just become like a snowball.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, look, these things can like really affect the relationships as well, like particularly in a household where men feel pressure to provide. how, can you give me a little bit more understanding, like how can that impact the families?
Yeah, definitely. Look, with family dynamics, the first thing that happens is, the man becomes in his own mind. And because of those examples I gave about isolation, they become less patient with the kids. Okay, so
Ah,
if you've got a busy mind, it's only natural that when a distraction comes that is out of the norm and you're reflexing with aggression or with temper, because the other person just doesn't know what you're feeling and they're just wanting to play. And it's like, do you understand how serious I'm thinking you want to play? So sometimes they can get quite snappy, like quicker. Not every man, but I find like that's quite a pattern. There's a lot of sadness in the eyes. So if you have friends or family, just be aware, like when you're talking to them and the men, they're just not sparkling or with motivation. There's a lot more heaviness to their eyes and their facial expressions. And they kind of expect their wives and their kids to be more grateful. So because financial stress is embedded in their brain, it's like, well, I do so much, I'm worrying so much, and they're ungrateful. They're doing this, they're doing that. And so a blaming household turns out. So culturally in the house, the values goes from love to blame. So
yeah.
it's like, no, I told you we don't have that much money. Why did you go and buy that? Or why did you say to that person that will go over? What are we going to bring as a plate to their family? Or I can't afford nappies. Why did you just put 2 on for the kids? Like all these calculations happen. And then that's when we see a lot of dads go and husbands go from like unconditional love to transactional love or transactional connections. It's like, well, I did this, so you got that. And instead of budgeting from financially, budgeting also comes into connection.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but it turns into creating restrictions.
Yeah.
So the man ends up going, okay, we have to restrict ourselves from eating out, or we have to restrict ourselves from, going to get Eid clothes or whatever it may be. The restrictions begin, and then the intimacy between husband and wife just doesn't exist. Unfortunately, once there's financial stress in a man, the intimacy goes zero, and then the wife feels unloved, and the connection can really feel very, very cold until money comes back into the household. So this is quite seen in the data we see, and it's unfortunate, but they're the signs where
Yeah.
someone or a family friend might be going through some hardship.
Yeah. Look, if I can share a story with you that one
Mm,
time I was going through a little bit of like a financial stress upon myself
yeah.
in business. I mean, look, these things happen. And during COVID time as well, because I had a really big hit on the business because people were scared. So we couldn't do
Mm,
any investments that much.
mhm.
And I remember my daughter was born and I had really limited cash flow on myself because I had to keep the business afloat. I had to
Yeah.
pay my
Yeah.
bills and everything. The stress that I went through for not buying that one toy for my daughter, who was just like a little baby at that time. Like I couldn't ask help from anybody else because I think I don't know, maybe I was too proud of myself, or maybe like I just don't know how to explain this in words, but I felt ashamed
Yeah.
that I look, I'm a father now, and I've got a wife, I've got a child. I should be the one to provide them with everything. And
Mm,
for me, not to be able to buy that extra toy, even though I had the money, but I had to use the money for other expenses. But
mm,
that feeling deep down inside almost killed me, you know, like I felt sad,
mm.
bad, and I remember just really shutting down, like immediately shut down.
Yeah.
That was not a good experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that you can talk about it now, but in that moment, that shame makes you just, close everything, your
Yep.
senses stop. And then that heartache that you still are feeling today, you can feel
Yep.
it because the brain can't differentiate past from now. So all
Yep.
of a sudden you can have $1 million in your bank account, but you still feel like inside is like, I couldn't provide, and what if, and that's what humbles business owners, because as a business owner you go from having a lot of money to no money, then a lot of money to no money. And I guess that's also being okay, being uncomfortable with surprise, and with inflex you try to be more flexible with mindset. Mm.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, are there cultural differences in how men approach financial worries? How might like the society expectation shape the men?
I've actually thought about it in quite depth because I'm a child of a migrant, and cultural and religious beliefs also play a big role, and what your ancestors have gone through and how they've seen money and wealth. Um, but I guess looking at more of our profile of who our clients' families are, and yours, when I was looking into it, there was three concepts that popped up for us, and from our cultural way of how it's influencing cash and or financial awareness is, the first one is family unit versus individual. In
Hmm.
Western society, it's individual first. If I build myself up first, then I can provide. But
Hmm.
in our culture, in our cultural and religious backgrounds, it's mainly family unit. As long as I need to care and create wealth for my family, then I can care for myself. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So, if you from Lebanon or Italy or Greece or Cyprus or Turkey to get anywhere, Pakistan, like the background is all about, let me help the extended family first,
Yep.
let me help everybody in need, and then I can grow. And even in like, when you make a lot of money, you just want to give to those that are unfortunate. So that's a big thing that holds us. The second thing is honor. So you've even mentioned it just before, right? So, but it's interesting because we're all about giving. We do sacrifice to ourselves, but you go to a wedding, the first thing that elders do is put out gold and have to show everyone everything. And there's that different
Yep.
type of honor. Like there's the shame honor, but then the honor of, I have to showcase that I'm charitable and I give a lot at weddings and I've got a social capital. So that's the second thing. And it's really hilarious because it's quite conflicting in some ways. And the third I see, and this is in a lot of, I saw it within my husband as well, is trust with debt. It's
Yep.
like, borrowing money and consumer and all the stigma that comes with all the economy and the players in there, it creates some unnecessary stress for a lot of people when they don't understand it, or for some reason it becomes quite intimidating and they just don't trust the banks. I don't trust the institutions. I don't trust advisors because there's been some type of upbringing of going, just focus on blah, 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 like on who you know. So it definitely does. Like those are the three major cultural norms. But I came across, I don't know if you know RBFCU, the Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union.
No.
They came up with these really cool questionnaires for beliefs. So based on your beliefs, what type of financial behaviors you show. And I couldn't believe it because it was so relevant for our cultural backgrounds. So I want to go through that with you because it was fascinating. Yeah. So because of those cultural norms that I just spoke about, those three, like honor, family unit, and distrust in the society institutions, our mentality is usually through culturally, because I'm a Cypriot Turkish background, ours is like, what if something bad happens? What if what if you put something and something doesn't happen? The amount of times, like I'll talk to family about something great, they're like, well, but what if something bad or it doesn't go? So with this, the pattern usually, according to this research, is that creates the pattern of people wanting to keep money at home and save, very good at budgeting, save, but they do not invest. They don't trust financial advisors. They don't trust banks. It's just save. And the mentality is, if I save, I'm safe. The problem with that is inflation, because the more money and the inflation, your money becomes less worthy. So it's huge negative effects. So although they're great at budgeting and saving, that mentality also means that you're always stuck in the same spot, or you actually go backwards, unfortunately. The second thing that comes with that in a different persona with our cultural backgrounds is, like, money feels complicated. Like, it's too much. And because of our honor, we feel like we're undeserving of money when we do get it. So this type of persona also leads to, if bills come in, you don't open it. If invoices come through, like, later, because all of a sudden your brain's like, well, I'm kind of undeserving of a lot of money, and it's too complicated to budget and give money elsewhere. So I avoid it. And that's why some of us that are business owners fall into that trap. Like if you see a lot of landscaping businesses or any business that's quite hands-on, usually the business owner is like, I've got a pile of bills that I can't start. And, they've got great cultural backgrounds that have that honor, this big honor in their cultural background. So what that creates, unfortunately, is more avoidance and fear-based relationship with money. A lot of fear-based.
I completely agree with you. So in my experience, when I've dealt with people, I think I dropped something. When I have experienced different clients come in from, let's just say, from like different part of the world, and they're like migrants coming to Australia, they have a very different perspective towards finance. Whereas when I deal with very true blue blood Aussies coming in, they have a very different perspective towards financial advice. Why is that? Like in terms of like it's a culture that's stopping men from taking help from someone, while other culture people do accept help from other people?
I think because honor is not really high in the Western culture, and individualism is very important. So in our culture, my cultural background, it's family unit is more important. And with Australian families, like farmers, family unit's very important. So they care about generational wealth. But our society and the way we are brought up is, they don't look at generational wealth, but they look at generational care. It's like a different level of self-worth and happiness. So
Yeah.
I do see that, and also from education, we're morphed into what we've seen.
Yeah.
So you know, the Australians that have accessed their super, see their system, understand what's you know, our farmers, for example, that are Australian background, like they've been here from generations of Australians, they understand the importance of how wealth of the system, you can benefit from the system.
Yeah.
But with different cultures, they don't trust the system because they've had to
Yeah.
migrate from a system that fell apart.
100%.
So,
A
yeah,
100% agreed.
so that's what they carry with them. And that's why the difference between migrants and, and national Australians that I'm talking like being here since 1800s, that's the difference. They've got more of the confidence to do something because they trust the system.
Yeah.
Migrants will always be skeptical because of the heartache and the trauma that they carry.
Yeah. Now, plus, look, being a bit fair with people who've migrated here, there have been some really dodgy people who've come in and promised the world to the people and taken the money and run away. I've represented a few people
My
for
goodness,
that cases where people came in and they took the money and they ran away, and
God.
and they showed all the right signs. So how does people? So like, I mean, the family that they impacted, they said, look, we checked all the areas and all the government websites that were required,
Mm,
but
mm,
but the delay in justice that they got was very far away because the people who scammed them took the money overseas.
yeah. So that leads to the third type of persona that a lot of the cultures backgrounds have. Like, I mean, it could be anyone, so I don't want to name a specific cultural background, but it's the self-worth. So the lifestyle that I lead, that's my worth. So they
Yes.
indulge in things, and those are the people that do get rich quick schemes.
Yes.
And that's when they're hungry and they don't have values or morals. And unfortunately, some men can go from I have nothing, it's all about others, to I need to get to that lifestyle. I'm going to need to make quick money because they felt that somewhere. And that is very common in our cultures too, like a migrant culture too. It's untouched, but you see it in Dubai.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You see it like it's there. The moment someone has money, it's like they have to show that they've got more.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, you could be driving the best car in the world, but you have so much debt. And those people that don't have debt and are driving like Toyota Corollas that are like 25 years old. So
Yeah.
you can see the difference in the culture is unfortunately when we do have money, like it's a big show off thing, and that does affect the house. It does affect the connections in the home.
Does. Now,
Mm,
can I just ask one more question that how can social media
mm,
impact the men as well? Because what I've seen these days is that a lot of people they are putting different like pictures of like luxury cars, very
mm.
expensive holidays. But
Yeah,
as a financial advisor, I know that the job that they're working or the things that they're doing, they can't afford that. So
no.
they are, I mean, like they're putting money towards different life experiences, and they're putting
Yeah,
that on social media, which is impacting the next generation to come up and go like, oh, I want to be like that person who's driving a Ferrari outside or a Lamborghini. But the
yeah,
reality is that person can't even afford a small Toyota.
yeah. It's
Can this
creating.
also impact?
I completely agree because I know year 12 kids that aspire to become rich and already want specific brands, like they're very
Yep.
brand focused. Instead of going, hey, I want to buy a property. Right? In my generation, when I finished high school, I wanted to buy a property and I did. But now our kids are like, no, I'll get a property later. I'd rather just
Yep.
splurge and indulge on this.
Yep.
Social media is creating a like a hypnosis. I call it a hypnosis because it's a symmetry way of visualizing things. And as a functional neurology practitioner, like that's what I focus on is you can only use critical thinking and your right side of the brain, which is big picture together. That's a healthy brain. But when you're looking at something repetitively in a hypnotic style, you've eliminated all critical thinking. I'm looking at social media posts, just watching like zombie, but my brain's not making a decision that's healthy. My brain's not thinking about my circumstances. I'm not copying and I indulge and I click on the next thing. And it's just based on indulging. So it's increasing the perception of self-worth. It's changing the way that people want to prioritize their money, but it's affecting our senses in so many ways and distrusting humankind. It's more trusting whatever's provided and more tangible, like consumable things. So that's dangerous. I think all parents should start looking into creating perceptions for their kids of where happiness and self-worth looks like for each child.
Yep. Now, when men feel overwhelmed by like financial stress, or they want to compete with the rest of the world, or whether that's due to like job uncertainty or like AI fears these days, like AI is going to come and take my job or dead. What are some healthy ways for men to cope up with such a change, and like how they can adopt a few things, and how can their family also help them out as well? Do you have anything to share with that?
Yeah, sure. Look, I focus on the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain. So if you know that you're into detail a lot, if you really want things to be a certain way, you like your routine, you're very patterns based, don't like too much risk, that means you're a bit more left brain dominant. And you have that, you need structure and plan A, plan B, plan C. If you're right brain dominant, you're more risk adverse. You're more able to be an entrepreneur and make quick decisions and worry about it later. You don't need to isolate things. You're very big picture and a problem solver when it comes to random problems. So if you're either or, I do recommend you come see me, because some of it will trap you, and if you're left brain, you won't sleep, and if you're right brain, you'll overthink and you'll probably go into influential things like spending your money or partying or doing bad stuff. So what I'd recommend for any men, and this is truly from what we know of humankind, is start moving. So what I mean by that is the body needs to stay healthy if you move. So it's random for us in this platform for me to say that, but the first thing that happens with financial stress is men stay on the couch, they watch TV, they're on their phone, and they don't leave their bedrooms or their study or wherever they think is comfortable. They just don't move. And I think that's the negative. So first thing is, if you've lost your job or if you're scared about something, go for walks, go for a run, get a soccer ball, call a friend, and just play soccer randomly or play basketball. Just move your body and remember that you were a kid once. So start reflexing like a kid again. Number two is become aware of yourself and how you're reacting to things and to people. Because the more you understand, oh, I'm a bit more snappy than usual, or oh, my wife, I'm not really nice to her lately, or my daughter, or my son, like I've actually spent no time with them. Like, just be aware of those connections and what's happening. So that's a big strategy for me, is because once a man knows what's happening, he changes. It's usually when a man doesn't know what's happening, where they're just oblivious, and they turn to their wives and say, why don't you tell me? Just tell me. So that's number two. My final advice would be always have options.
What do you mean?
Don't say this is what we're going to do or this is how life is. Have options, because the biggest trap I see is when there's financial stress, they put all their eggs in one basket. It's like, well, if I get that job, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, but what if you don't? Or what if you get 5 jobs and you're not prepared for it? Like, there's so many options in life. And I feel like when we're in financial stress, we feel like every door's closed and there's no way out. But there's always more than one way out. So I would always find an option, always come up with silly ideas, and follow your intuition, and ask the right people for advice. Don't go to the wrong people, because that could really hurt as well. So that's that. I guess that's high level, but
Yeah.
if it is affecting their home, if sometimes there's certain sleep habits or nervous systems off, you could always come and we can have a session as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know a family where the husband and wife they both invested money with the company, turned out to be a scam. They didn't get any advice from anybody else, and they did transaction cash in hand. And I said, how are you going to prove that? Number one, that's the
Yeah,
biggest mistake they did. But what happened is that the husband and wife, who were absolutely like a beautiful couple, they started arguing with each other,
yeah,
and then eventually they had a divorce. And
yeah.
like can a husband and wife, if they go through this, how can men open up to their partners? What are the things they need to say? Because honestly, as a man myself and being married, I don't want to go approach my wife because I don't want her to think that I'm less of a man who has control over things. How do I approach a scenario, or how can somebody who's listening to this go like, okay, so this is a scenario. Okay, this is how I can go and approach my wife. And should that person go for walks um, with the partner or without the partner and without any electronics, just go for a walk by themselves?
Look, he should always go for a walk by himself because he
Yep.
needs to collect his thoughts first. The worst is when you've got so many thoughts and you say the wrong thing that you didn't mean. That's that. So a man should always regulate through movement in his own head alone. Once he gets to the point where he can articulate what he's trying to say, like he's collected the thoughts,
Yep.
then it's a good time, especially if he's overthinking because there's so many what ifs and what could happen. But it's interesting you say the divorce thing because I see two ways. It's when um, men go through hardship, lose financial stability, they isolate, they close off, they become very not themselves, quite depressed, and then it affects the relation intimacy with the wife, and then the wife starts blaming, things become transactional, becomes toxic, they leave, they divorce. But when it comes to the other side is when the man makes a lot of money, that also leads to divorce if the man decides that money can become his self-worth and he disconnects from things that are actually true and grateful and what matters. So they splurge on big items, wife is unaware, they have more independence, wife is unaware, and then it becomes a habit of, I can do that, I can pay for that, blah, 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 blah. So that I've seen families that bankruptcy happens because of the splurging, and not the man not knowing what to do. So with this, I'd always say as a advice to husband and wives especially is develop a family plan. Like sit down, don't judge each other. Just say if we had $1 million, what do you want to do? But don't judge, make a positive, because that cultural negative mindset is like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Don't worry, just come up with a fun plan because eventually it will become real. Whether it's 1 year or 10 years, it'll come up.
I
Um,
agree.
and don't problem solve straight away. I say this to the little kids I see is, yeah, you got a problem. You've gone to mum's trying to solve it, but hang on. Are we actually talking about the same problem?
Yep.
So yeah, and I would also look at educating each other.
I
As
agree.
yeah.
Look, can I be ever since I've done that vision board, do you remember the vision board that you made
Yeah,
with me?
yeah.
My God, that vision board has helped so many people come on this discussion with me now, where husband and wife are both sitting together and they're going like, well, financial planning can be a little bit boring or it could be a little bit difficult to understand. But when I present them with the pictures and I give them a vision board to put the pictures on it, and what are the things they want to achieve in short, medium, and long term, it opens up the possibility for the clients to actually visualize the things that they can achieve in their life.
Definitely.
So I
Definitely.
would definitely suggest a lot of people that if you and your wife, or like if you're a single parent, or you are not married yet, or you don't have a partner, but you want to have some kind of clarity in your life about where the finances can take you, why don't you start putting up a vision board? Just like take
Yeah.
random stuff that you want to achieve in your life, you divide them in three categories: short, medium, and long term, and then work towards that.
Yeah, it's amazing because our brains, the way we are brought to this world is through pictures. And the reason why finance and money is so hard is we've never visualized or put a picture to the cash.
Yeah,
And that's why marketing works, because when you see a holiday and you know how much it is, they go, "Oh, that's the picture, that's where I want to go." And you know that that's the worth, right? And when you're selling services like you and me, it's like, how am I going to tell someone that you're going to have a beautiful connected home and you're going to have peace in your mind and your heart? There's no picture for that. So it's so hard to sell. And financial advice, it's all numbers and all plans. And so I feel like when a family sits down and go, well, what's important to us? And see it in an image, that's gold, because all of a
yeah,
sudden they now know that they're working towards the same image, and they've got hope. It's beautiful. Like, a lot of families I see don't have hope because unfortunately their children have developmental delays, or something's wrong, or something trauma has happened. So we rebuild the mum, we rebuild the dad, we rebuild the child with this image that things are going to be better.
yes,
That's what's amazing, and that's how I see us so aligned. Is it's empowering families to feel like, I've got this, we're fine. We're not going to lose hope because things are expensive today, or because my child can't talk. Your child will
yeah,
talk. We'll
yes,
help them. Yeah. So it's definitely a beautiful thing of the vision board and bringing that to events. I think people will really benefit from that. And I did myself, I did it for 5 minutes, and it was a great reflection for me, because where to from now? I mean, owning a business is very different to being on 9 to 5. And
yeah,
mind you, I was a property sales manager for 8 years working for the government. So that very security blanket just gets taken off, and the vision board comes to life. It's like, well, what do I want to be? Who's Sevda now? So
yeah.
I found that very useful, Umair. So I really want to thank you for that.
No worries. Look, I'm actually using that for a lot of my clients because I have to show them the visual representation of things that they want to achieve. Now, how we do it, that's a separate case. Like, we need to understand your goals and objectives, your
Yeah,
income and your expenses, and then take you to that part. But I think I really want to thank you for doing this session with me, because I really want to help a lot of clients understand that from a mental health perspective, finance
mm,
is a really important thing, but like understanding your own emotions is also very important. Like you can't just bury your head in the sand and say everything's okay. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually accept the fact that something has happened.
yeah,
How do you overcome that scenario? Is by maybe going for a walk. Maybe don't take your phone with you, because don't have distractions. Maybe just go for a walk by yourself,
yeah,
and just think about the things, and like, let the ideas come to your mind, and then
yeah.
you slowly move on from that perspective.
Yeah. And how do you think people would know that they're ready to make a financial decision? Because there might be someone watching this and go, well, how do I know if I'm ready to pick up the phone and have a chat to someone like you? Is there something that you see in that?
Well, it's always taking the leap of faith. First of all, like, majority of people that come to us, they're mostly hear about an experience of one of their friends who had advice from us, and they are really making good money, and they go like, okay, if they can't do it, I can do that as well, and then they come to us. But I really feel like you should go and get some advice, or you should read up on this industry as well, and then come to us and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want to get advice done. I've got some goals in my mind, some financial goals. I want to achieve them. How can I achieve them? These are my finances. And then it's my job But I need to also understand why are you making specific financial decisions in your life. Just by saying that I want to have passive income means nothing. Why do you need that passive income? What
So
is that passive income going to replace? Is it your basic expenses? Like for some people, it could be, hey, I just want to pay off my mortgage. That's good enough for me. If my 9 to 5 job stops, if I can pay my mortgage, I'm happy with that. For some people, it's like, no, I want to replace my entire income with my passive income. And for
mm,
some people, it's just like I've got a random number of like $1 million. I just had a chat with the client yesterday, and he said, "Umair, I need $1 million." I'm like, why?
for what?
Exactly. I'm like, hey, that's a good idea, but why? He's like, because I want to have financial freedom. I'm like, what does this financial freedom mean to you? And he's like, I'll pay for my bills and everything. That's like nearly $4,000 a month. I'm like, where is this $1 million coming from? Like if you invest that money, it could be as little as 300 to $400,000, not
Yeah,
a million,
yeah,
and then you can slowly start to get the benefits out of it.
yeah,
It's understanding what are your requirements, and a
exactly.
lot of people, yeah, and then a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, we don't have like $500,000 spare in our bank account. Then we need financial advice." Actually, no. If you have a $500,000 spare in the bank account, then you don't need an advisor. You need an advisor when you don't have that much money in your pocket to help you find that way.
Yeah, I hear you because it's a journey, they're milestones. But
Yeah.
some people can feel stuck and anxious about finances, like we spoke about just earlier. What's one small step that they could take today to start feeling a little bit more secure?
Honestly, just come and have a chat with me. I will just do a vision board for you, absolutely for free. There's no cost involved. All we're going to do is just give you some pictures to pick and choose what are the things you want to achieve in your life, and
That's
then slowly go forward from there.
Yeah, that's awesome because I know how much it's changed me. It's given me more direction. I've got my 2026 plan, my 2027 plan now, and it helps you go, well, yeah, you got baby steps today, but what are we working forward to? So thank you so much. It will really help so many people out there. But
Excellent.
yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sefla, for coming in this discussion with us, and I hope you guys really like it. I think we should do another one just to take care of like how does financial stress impact the ladies as well,
Yeah,
females as well, and then we can go on from there on and make some more
more than
videos.
happy to. Thank you for having me as your guest.
Thank you, Sefla.
Thank you.